good afternoon, have gone from crying again this morning because when I am able to say what we have gone through at Astrace, when it's a fucking memoir, oh my god. Anyway, the things, I mean, it's not even like I have any company secrets or anything like that, but it's more so just things that you don't want to talk about, like in the middle of the struggle, in the middle of the oh my god, like the life of a tech startup and like the sacrifices you make. Anyway, the sunset's not going to come out today as it's pretty dark, but I'm about to start my day of work because some days I do evening readings and today is one of those days. So we're going to run through this, and after this, I'm going to talk about fame indicators in the chart because I get this question a fuck ton, which makes sense because it was a question like I would have had to have everything. Once I'm done with my calls, we will get into the general things in astrology that can show that you're famous, whatever the fuck that, what we're going to define what it means first so we can have our parameters. I went and got my nails done. I don't know if you can see in this lighting. Basically, it is an iridescent pink. We're going to get into good lighting because I, for once, didn't do red. I either do red or I do like a neutral that can just go with things. But I did this iridescent opalescent white and it glows kind of pink and also blue. I'm into it. I think it's cute because it's not off-brand. It's just a different line. Anyway, let's talk about fame in astrology, something that I noticed was getting traction. Like I had an old video from 2 years ago about fame indicators in astrology, and I noticed that randomly it was showing up on people's For You page and they were like commenting about it. It's always weird for me to see videos from like 2020 or 2019 when for some reason they're resurfacing and I notice that they're on the For You page. Basically, if you're new to TikTok or not tracking analytics on TikTok, you can know that your video is on the For You page if you click on the people that are liking it and they're not following you and you know they're viewing it on the For You page basically. So I just noticed that when I was seeing like a bunch of comments and likes on this one video, so I went in and I was like, oh wow, it's on the For You page, and it was from 2020, like wow. This video, I even remember filming it like the corner of my window in natural light because I rarely used to film with natural light because my old apartment had little natural light. It had a skylight, but like the way it was bad. So I used to film with artificial light a lot with a ring light. I don't even own a ring light anymore because I have all the light I need. And actually, fun fact, we're gonna get into fame, I promise. This is all relevant, fun, pre-story. I got into the phone down flash style of filming because I was traveling with no ring light. And I needed a way to film myself when I was in hotel rooms with lighting on my face. And because it's kind of hard to like start filming flash with it like this, I would just start down and then go up. I didn't mean for it to turn into like an attention grab thing, but it did, and I kept it because people get mad at me for it, and it's good at hook. It's good as a hook. Anyway, there was a video from 2 years ago that I talk about fame indicators, and why is there a wood chip on my floor? The fuck? When have I been in the woodlands? Okay. Fame, let's define it first, and then let's get into the astrology of it. Fame is being well known and successful in the public eye. Let's just clear cut define it as that. There are many different levels of that. There's fame as in Taylor Swift. There's fame as in like, I don't know, niche internet celebrity, but I don't really consider that fame. I think that's just a little bit of like immediate popularity type thing. So there are different spectrums of fame, and it takes an outstanding amount of something to compile into like Billie Eilish, Taylor Swift, Barack Obama level of notoriety, fame, etc. But there are a few things that are telling of success and being recognized. If you have a prominent Sun, North Node, or Jupiter, I would argue that those are planets, not even planets. North Node is not a planet, the Sun is not a planet. Those are celestial bodies that will magnify you into the public eye. Why do I say this? Jupiter is the planet of growth, optimism, and abundance. If you have a prominent Jupiter, as in it's exalted in its own sign or on an angle, it is likely to indicate a lot of success and good fortune in that area of your life. Jupiter is exalted in Cancer, and it's in its own sign in Pisces and Sagittarius. If it is on an angle, I mean the ascendant, descendant, midheaven, or IC, it's going to show up as a very pivotal part of that area of your life. So if Jupiter is on the ascendant, you have a big personality, it's very noticeable. Jupiter's on the IC, you have a big family life. Jupiter's on the descendant, you tend to attract very generous, bombastic partners. Jupiter's on the midheaven, your career is very well seen, very noticeable, very optimistic. Now, before I even get into anything else, of course, there's always exceptions. I'm sorry that you are a hermit with no life and you have Jupiter on the midheaven. You probably have fuck all in the rest of your chart. So like miss me with the weird nuances right now. This is not the point. Jupiter prominent on an angle and exalted in the chart can show that that area of your life is really profound. A lot of people are going to have that. So that alone does not indicate fame. You're going to need these things compiled and in a notable configuration for it to add up. But like I said, prominent Jupiter and exaltation or on an angle, probably going to show success in that area of your life. If it's in the 10th or 11th houses, 10th house being career, 11th house being audience reception, likely going to show some type of profound acknowledgement in your career. Also, if it's in the 5th house of creativity, that can sometimes be it as well. Then the sun represents our ego, our creativity, and our drive to be seen in the world. If you have an exalted sun in Aries or the sun in its own sign in Leo, those are great for more performing, attention-seeking roles in the world. This is neutral. I'm not calling you attention-seeking in a bad way. I have a fuck ton in Leo. I love attention. I love performing. I'm an entertainer at my core. So having a lot of Leo or Aries, especially the sun in Leo or Aries, naturally gravitates towards entertainment roles. A lot of people are going to have this. A lot of people are not going to be famous. However, like I said, these things add up. If your sun is on the midheaven or in the 10th or 11th house, that will help. I'll get into that part of the video around the parts of the chart that do indicate fame as well after this final indicator, which is the North Node. The North Node amplifies and the North Node adds obsession. If the North Node is very prominent in the top half of the chart, as in it is conjunct the Sun, Jupiter, midheaven, maybe even Mars. If the North Node is conjunct a prominent placement in the top half of the chart, which I will explain why in a second, it likely shows insatiable drive or an obsession to be seen and successful in that area of your life. Why do I say the top half of the chart? Because that is the public-facing, complicated external part of the chart. The bottom half from the ascendant to the descendant in houses 1 through 6 refers more to us, our internal world, and the foundations of our life. The 1st and 7th houses are mixed because like ourselves and our relationships apply to both private and public lives, so those are kind of exceptions to this, but houses 2 to 6 primarily deal with the foundations of life and your own choices more directly. 2nd house is money, 3rd house is daily routine and habits and learning, 4th house is family and home and private life, 5th house is sex, creativity, dating, 6th house is physical health and employees. Those are all more related to your day-to-day monotonous private life rather than houses 8 through 12, which are a little more public. 8th house is finances that involve other people like investments or taxes. 9th house is foreign travel and higher education. 10th house is career. 11th house is networking and audience. And 12th house is what you cannot see yourself or you're in denial about. Things like addiction, spirituality, maybe even betrayal. All of these things tend to be more complicated and involving other people or the external world. Because of this, having prominent placements in the top half of the chart is more likely to be an indication of fame than the bottom half. This does not mean more success, a better life, or having a more positive experience. This simply means more public rather than more private. Now, of course, there will be celebrities that have a ton in the 4th house on the IC. They're likely going to be the kind of celebrity that has creative work out there, but does not share their life. They're very, very private. So there will be exceptions where you can be famous, but be extremely private and withdrawn. And likely, I would surmise that those people actually do not like the fame, and their intention was not to be super well known and super just out in the world, but rather that their work showed for itself. However, having planets in the top half of the chart will lend itself more towards being famous simply by virtue of what you're going after in the areas of life that are activated. especially if this compiles into the 10th or 11th houses, because the 10th house is career and professional life, and the 11th house is networking, audience, and larger groups. These are the most public houses, so naturally having a ton in these areas of your chart will simply lend itself towards being more famous than someone who has a ton on the IC. If you have, for example, an exalted Jupiter conjunct the North Node on the midheaven in the 11th house, I will be like, yeah, you're destined to be some kind of entertainer or well-known figure in this part of your chart. This, again, does not mean it is good or positive. It could be that you have Jupiter sure exalted in Pisces on the midheaven in the 11th house, but it's opposite Saturn in your 5th house, and you have a ton of trouble around like accusations of sexual misconduct, or you have it squaring Saturn in the 8th house, and you have a ton of issues around finances and loans and being in debt. And it's like there could be so many configurations where it's not as if you want fame or you want to be in the public eye, but having a prominent Sun, Jupiter, or North Node in your chart, especially if it's in the 10th or 11th houses or configured to the top half of your chart, is very likely to show some sort of being in the public eye. To compile into the level of fame that is like miraculous, you're going to need positive aspects from Venus or Jupiter, likely to 10th or 11th house placements. You probably want the ruler of the 10th or 11th house to be really, really notable. And the final thing that's pretty like it's usually in line with famous or entertainment related people, is challenging Neptune aspects to a certain degree. This is because Neptune is a planet of delusion, of glamour, of Hollywood. And if Neptune is square, opposite, or conjunct something, it tends to add a mystical, dreamy quality that is even like problematic level. This is kind of the dark side or the projection side, the envy side of fame. Like having challenging Neptune often corresponds with being a bit naive to other people leeching off of you and being incredibly jealous. I've seen this time and time again. It often also means that we are not competitive ourselves, but we martyr ourselves, and that's kind of our downfall, is this like sad, starving artist story even, I'd say. So challenging Neptune is often also a part of people who are famous or in the public eye, even though that is not something that you want. You do not want a challenging Neptune. I don't care if you've, like I have Mars and Venus and Mercury all opposite Neptune. Especially Mars, you can say, like Venus and Neptune, not really actually. I don't have Venus and Neptune by degree. They're like they don't. I have Neptune at 29 Cap, they're at like 14 and 16 Leo, so never mind. I do not have, because I was about to say, what did I just say? I just misspoke. I was thinking about someone's chart that I saw earlier, because I do not have Venus opposite Neptune. There's no rose-colored glasses on me. But I do have Mars opposite Neptune, and I find it very challenging to know how to, I guess competition, like I'm not competitive whatsoever. I find it very difficult to think about someone as someone I need to go after. Like it really, like there's nothing I hate more than conflict or having to fight. It just makes me like literally shut down. So Neptune is not something that you want difficult aspects with, but the three major things that you can look out for in your chart are, do you have a very well-placed Jupiter? Is it exalted? Is it in its home sign? Is it on an angle? If you have anything on an angle, it's going to be prominent. So if it's Jupiter, North Node, or Sun on an angle, it's going to be a big deal. Sun, is it exalted? Is it in its own sign? Is it high up on an angle? North Node, is your North Node conjunct something that's going to lead or indicate that you are obsessed with that. I have Sun conjunct the North Node exactly. Like a couple other people have this, you can look them up. We're all fucking like egomaniacs. We mind our own business. I'm not coming after you. In fact, I don't know who you are. In fact, there was this awesome, I talked about it on my story. Like Doja Cat said, she was like, you don't hate me. You don't actually like really care about me. You just hate yourself because you're not out here living the life that I am, killing it, working hard, being an entertainer. And that's like the real shit actually, is that like you don't actually hate or envy. Maybe you do envy, jealous. You do envy. You are jealous of famous people. You don't actually hate them. You just want to be them, basically. You want to be the entertainer, whatever. So fame is a neutral thing. If you have placements in the 10th or 11th house, you're likely to be activating that as well. And if you have challenging Neptune, it's not something you want. And I would say it's a correlation, not a causation in terms of that dynamic. I don't think that having challenging Neptune means you're down to be famous. You're likely a little bit delusional in some ways. But it usually comes with the territory because artists are weirdos. What time is it? 9:33. Okay, cool. We made good timing for today's vlogmas. I'm waiting for my Westville kale salad. Does anyone else's Venmo literally decline them so often? My credit cards are not declining me. They're working fine on anything else. Venmo, everything declines constantly. I finally got $100 through. Like, I need to pay a large sum to someone, and I can't. I'm so frustrated. Anyway, my Westville order is here. Veggie burger place on salad. I also got my usual like health tea. This stuff is so good. It has like cinnamon, bay leaves, citrus, whatever. Also got a chai latte because I've never had one and I was wondering. I don't think there's caffeine in this. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Please tell me this says almond milk in it. Chai latte. I'll be able to like smell it if it's not almond milk. No, that's almond milk. This is very sweet. It just tastes like tea. I guess because that's what it fucking is. Yeah, okay, cute, I guess. Anyway, going to enjoy this. If you're in New York, please get the Westville kale salad. It's really good. I'm just like an unpaid announcement for Westville always. See ya.